everybody. Welcome to the Ladies Power Lunch show. Thank you so much for joining us. This show is called Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life. And for every single show that we have an amazing guest who joins us. And basically, she shares with us, or he, because once in a while we have a guy hop on here with us, shares with us ways that we can grow our businesses smarter. We don't have to work harder. It doesn't have to be stress and strain and struggle. There is a smoother path to getting to the goals that we have. I host a women's group called Ladies Power Lunch, and it's a wonderful, magical place where women come together, women in business and a few men. You might find entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. You might find women with small businesses, women with larger businesses. You might find women in corporate leadership. You might even find retired women or women in nonprofits. But what we all have in common is that we are women in business, and we firmly believe that when we support each other, everybody wins. What we know is that there's nothing new under the sun. And so there's no need for us to recreate our wheels. If there's a challenge that somebody in our group is facing, there's somebody else in the group who's been through it before, or who might know somebody that they can connect us with that can help us to get through things more smoothly. And so we are there every single day having conversations about how we can support each other so that everybody wins. And it's not a situation where, oh, I give you something, so you give me back. It's all about us all just sharing from a place of love because we all want to. It's a choice. And so I welcome you. Come join us over in our group. It's a Facebook group, growsmarternotharder.com/Facebook is how you join us. And we open our arms to you and welcome you if you're the kind of person who believes that when you support each other, everybody wins. On with the show. Our special guest today is Jackie Baldwin. She's a great friend to the show. Jackie is a financial planner, and she always comes on the show and shares with us about the money, honey, because the fact of the matter is that, it takes money for our businesses to run. And in order for us to be classified as a business and not a hobby, we actually do have to have income. There has to be money. Money comes into the equation all the time. And so I feel like we can't talk about money too much on this show. So Jackie, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Davia. And, to your point, this group has been so instrumental for me because there are so many other professionals within the group who are so giving and have just poured it out for me and filled me up and helped me grow a smarter business, be a healthier person myself individually. So I love this group.
And this group loves you right back. Jackie is outstanding. For Ladies Power Lunch, we have a summit. So far, we've been having a summit twice a year since the beginning of COVID. Before COVID, we used to have our summits just once a year, but it's amazing. Jackie will call us up and say, hey, is it time yet for me to be a sponsor? She is so invested in this idea that we have that when we come together, everybody wins. When we support each other, everybody wins. And when we look out for each other, we make sure that no entrepreneur, no small business woman gets left behind, then everybody wins. Because one of the things that I know is that of the millions of businesses that we have here in the United States, quite a few of them are being, brought to market by women. And when women have money, the whole entire economy benefits. So there's not just benefit for us, but for our families, for our communities, for the charities that we believe in. It all really, really makes a difference. So women in business, unite. So Jackie, tell us, who are you? Tell us about the wonderful things that you do in the world.
Well, I'd love to. How much time do we have? No. So I am a financial advisor, but my company's name is B&L Financial Architects. And that's really because we believe in designing, building, and maintaining a strong financial house. And that's where kind of the architect piece came in. And in doing that, I take a holistic approach to my financial advising. And that is, I believe in what I'm referring to as the triad of health. And my triad of health might look a little bit different than some other people's. I believe that we all need to have financial health, physical health, and emotional, spiritual health. Because if any one of those areas is not well taken care of or in tip-top shape, it can have a very dramatic negative impact on the other two. And that's why I love this group so much, because I can help with the financial piece, but I myself have learned through personal experience When I came to you, Davia, I don't even know, what was that, 6 years ago? I don't even know how, I've lost track of time. Physically, I was a mess and I couldn't show up for my clients in the best way. And you've helped me physically get, on track. So I know how that can really affect not only our own personal lives, but those of the lives that we serve. We don't show up in the best way if we're not completely healthy in all of those different areas. So, but come to the way I run my practice is a little bit different than other financial advisors as well. And I spend a lot of time educating my clients because I always say to women, I want you to become one of the few, a financially empowered woman. Because when you feel financially empowered, you're going to make decisions that come from that strong conviction place. And you're going to be feeling confident in moving forward and probably even stepping a little bit out of your comfort zone when it comes especially to your business. Because you're feeling as though, oh, I don't need to be feeling wary about finances and things like that. So it's super important for a woman, especially to feel financially empowered. And the only way to do that to me is through education. You need to understand. You don't need to know what I know, but I do want you to understand the financial tools that are here. How do we build that strong house? And then how does that help you build your unbreakable business? So that's kind of where I'm at. I stepped away from a firm that I had been with for 16 years. That was 7 years ago now, and started all over. And I don't regret one minute of it. I know that I've created a firm that I just love the way I meet with clients and the way I built my practice on that.
I love that, Jackie. And I find that the women and men who find themselves here on this show have a similar story to the story that you share of being in the traditional environment of whatever it is that their expertise is. Like, I think I interviewed CPA yesterday, who she's more like a spiritual CPA, and I was just eating it up. It was really great. So I love that you've taken the knowledge base that you have and you have made it your mission to help women to get empowered around money. Because I learned some things the other day that made me really raise my eyebrows. I was talking to one of our older members who is in more of a mentorship role in our group, and she was sharing with me about how she's an attorney, when she was opening her law practice back in the 70s, that she had to have her husband open bank account for her because that wasn't allowed. There are so many things that we have available to us now as women that apparently we didn't.
And not that long ago.
Not that long ago. And so it's so great, Jackie, that you're here and that you're helping us to be empowered around money in a way that traditionally women in women roles have not been. So this is awesome. So share with us, when you see clients, what's like the number one thing that you wish every woman in business knew? Just like you just want to hug her and say, you should do this differently. What's that one thing?
I find so many times women feel shame around their money habits. And it bleeds into all areas of their life when they feel as though they can't spend the money the way they want, or they feel like, I shouldn't take that risk. That's foolish with that money. And I have to kind of get people the women I serve to kind of rethink that a little bit. And to really say, we do need, if you're going to be a business owner, let's face it, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to be able to take those risks. You can't afford to be afraid. Doesn't mean to be reckless by any means, but it does mean that you have to, if you're committed to this and you have a dream and you believe in that, surround yourself by those people that can help you make that dream come true. And then be willing to take that leap and be all in on that. And don't be afraid, and don't feel shame around your past or past money habits or anything like that, because that's honestly one of the worst things that can happen is people develop this shame around maybe they had some difficulties in the past. And I just want to wrap them in my arms, and I do literally. I will wrap people in my arms when they allow, because I'm a hugger, as you know, and I'll be like, it's okay. There is no shame here. We are going to sit down. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get you on the right path. and then we're going to make this business work for you. But you have to be prepared to take that leap and get rid of all that past stuff, because it doesn't belong here. It has no place here. And that's what I wish people could remember and understand, is that we're here today, right now. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. We're moving forward. That's where we're keeping our sights.
That's beautiful. That's really, really wonderful. And yes, folks, she does. She's a hugger. She does.
I am a
Wrap us all in her arms. And
But I've gotten better. I used to just come at people and hug them. And since COVID, I've learned to ask permission first.
that's awesome. So we've been talking on this most recent series of our show about growing our business, but putting things in place to make it unbreakable. And not saying that, something couldn't happen, but saying that if something should happen, that we'll be able to weather the storms a little bit better.
Mhm.
If anything has been taught to us over these last few years with the pandemic and whatnot, we know things can happen.
Mhm.
So what are your suggestions? What are some of the do's and don'ts that you suggest for us to grow our businesses in an unbreakable way from your perspective as a financial advisor?
So the key, even with our own personal finances, is to make sure that we have kind of taken a look at we want to take as much risk that we have, that we keep on ourselves, right? And there's a lot as an entrepreneur and a business owner that we have to kind of keep on ourselves. But there's also a good number that we can start to push off of ourselves and put elsewhere. So for example, we want to make sure that we have enough, building up enough liquid assets to cover us, right? So look what happened in the pandemic. For 3 months, it took about for us to start getting the stimulus money in. If you knew that you had 3 months of liquid savings somewhere that you could tap into, that could have helped ride that path out a little bit until we could get the stimulus in, you wouldn't have to be sitting there worried about, oh, my business is going to just totally go up in smoke. So that's one. Two, if we should become sick or hurt, or worse yet, die, we want our business to be able to continue. So we also need to be able to pass that off, that risk onto, say, an insurance company. So I don't have enough money necessarily as a business owner, right? Because I'm pouring it back into my company to cover everything. If I should become suddenly disabled, I'm in a car accident and I'm laid up for a few months, the business, I need to know it's going to keep running. And I need to know I'm going to have income coming in for my household as well. The best and easiest and most cost efficient way to do that is to get, say, disability insurance. The best way to make sure that my business is going to continue growing, and we'll get to that, I think, a little bit when we start maybe talking a little bit about how are we going to build a succession plan into our business. Part of that is, if I were to pass today, for some reason, I was in a bad car accident or what have you, I need to know that there's money to keep my business going while, say, whoever is kind of keeping this moving for me can bring in another advisor to buy the business out, for example, whatever that might be. So having life insurance, and I know that's something that a lot of business owners don't really think about. They're just thinking about, I just got to keep the lights on. I got to keep going day to day. But we also need to make sure that if we're not here for some reason, or we're laid up, that we have insurance to kind of help backfill that, so that we are building that unbreakable business. On top of that, we need to also make sure that we have manpower, or woman power in our case, maybe, to make sure that if I'm not here, who's going to take care of my clients if I'm laid up? I have a succession plan. I have two other advisors that can step in and start serving my clients immediately. So my clients will never be sitting there going, well, now what am I going to do? We have to have that backup. Sometimes when we're solopreneurs, that's hard to think about. But I know that there are therapists, for example, who will have coverage with another therapist, for example. They'll build that into their practice so that if something were to happen to them, somebody could step in and immediately help their clients and continue serving them while they're trying to figure out what to do overall with the business and things like that. So we need to have coverage. So, I mean, those are some of the bigger things, is just making sure that we have, but on an emergency basis, how much risk can we put somewhere else where it makes more sense? I cannot absorb that kind of risk myself. I need to take a few dollars and give them to an insurance company who can then cover with the large dollars, that catastrophic coverage. So that's a big, big piece financially.
Yeah, that's really, really important. Thinking ahead, having things in place, having contingency, that definitely makes a big difference. You were one of our speakers at our Ladies Power Lunch Spring Summit, and these, episodes, people watch them whenever, but this is actually being taped right after we've had our summit. And you talked a lot about how we can make sure that we're not doing everything ourselves in our business, that we're getting the kind of support that we need. Can you share a little bit about that with our audience here? Because I feel like that's really an important part too of us getting to that space where we are unbreakable in our business.
Right. And so as a business owner, if we can start thinking about ourselves as being a chairman of the board, and that we have a board of advisors, and not a board of directors, and there's a big difference. A board of directors actually can run your business and they can actually vote you out, right? So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about advisors who are there, who are maybe outside of your business, looking at it from a different perspective, and who have maybe unique sets of skills. And they can look at your business, because when we're in the thick of it, it's really hard to see sometimes what we need. We know we're running, and we know that maybe things could be a little more efficient, but I don't have the time to sit down or the bandwidth or the knowledge to figure out what I need. So if you could bring in a board of advisors to come, you curate your advisors that come around you, who can help support you in the different areas and give you advice and guidance, and sometimes be those people to say, what you're doing over here, I know you might want to be doing that, but that's not really where your skill set is. You're really better at the grand vision. And so it would be better for you to bring in somebody to do some of this hands-on work over here. And that's hard as a business owner sometimes to relinquish that control. But you're going to see that the business overall grows when we can start bringing in all of these other ideas, and people can start seeing and sharing, how your business is going to expand. Because when we're doing it all, sometimes there are days I sit there going, I can't do one more thing. I'm exhausted. But if I had a board of advisors that I could say, hey, could you take on this? Or could you tackle this? Or could you, I have no business trying to do marketing myself, right? I am not good at Canva. I can get around it, but I'd really be far better to hire somebody to come in and do all that for me. So we want to make sure that we're building up around us. And there's so many resources within this group, so many talented people that I have tapped into myself. So what I was saying at Summit was, if you could sit down and look at your overall business and say, what areas would I like to grow in if I had the support, if I had somebody with the talent that could kind of look at this and give me some more guidance on this. I feel like I'm not doing enough in my marketing, or I feel I need help with my accounting. I'm not really sure I'm running my books right. I'm not sure how to scale up my business financially. I'm not sure how to do some of these things. Then you can start plugging in individual people into those seats. Once you've identified what the seats are that you need to fill, some are already filled in your business. So then you just need to know which ones are not filled, and then seek out professionals and other people to fit those seats. Before you know it, you're going to have your advisory board filled, and you're going to feel that weight lift off of you. And then you can focus on where your area of genius is and where you really light up and add value to your business. So that's kind of today. But then if we fast forward, and we really need, even today, to start thinking about, where would I like my business to go? And at what point am I going to be thinking about, I want to wind this business down, or I want to get out of it maybe. Is the business viable without you? So we almost need to be in a position where we're putting ourselves out of the business to that place where we are truly chairman of the board. And we're not the revenue drivers any longer. We're not the busy bees doing it all. Because when we start thinking about it that way, then we're looking at our business in a whole different light. And we can start saying, you know what? I could stay on as the visionary, the grand visionary. I could be the one to make sure that the brand stays the way I wanted it to, but I don't need to be doing all the work. And eventually, maybe there's going to be value in this business that I could sell it to someone else. But if you're the one bringing in all the revenue, it's going to be very difficult to sell it to someone else, because a buyer, if they buy it and you walk away, so does the revenue. So ultimately, we need to start designing our businesses today to be in a position where the revenue grows, but it's growing either from, if you're someone who's doing programs, things like that, that are standalone. I know that we have a lot of coaches and mentors that are building programs that are able to then be marketed. If you're not the one that has to be doing all of the interaction on a day-to-day, you have now a marketable business to someone else, because there's value in that. You've built up this brand and you've built up this value that somebody could take and continue to grow. And that's kind of where we need to be. And when I'm talking with business owners, I really start, especially if they say, you know what, I really would like to get out of this in 5 to 10 years. We really need to start edging you out from the revenue driving and put you into that chairman of the board seat and bring in others who are going to continue to be able to bring in that revenue, or build a system that you can sell to someone else. But you cannot be that physical person bringing in the revenue if you want to be able to walk away and sell the business. And if you want to be, if it's a business where you're just going to turn the lights off, then we need to start saving for your, because a lot of times when people have a business, that business is a bulk of their retirement. They plan on exiting it somehow and getting money, extracting money from that business when they're no longer bringing the revenue in themselves. So if it's going to be something where there is not going to, you can't sell it, then we need to start socking away your retirement in a different way. So we have to look at all of these things. But I know most of us are building businesses that we would love to see carry on long after we're not here, that leaving that legacy. And that's where we really need to start bringing in people, key people that are going to help you to do that and to carry it on. And maybe to be the one to buy the business from you. Maybe you have a younger person, a junior person coming in, and you're going to mentor them and build them up, and they're going to be the ones to buy the business. Or maybe you start talking with other businesses that are around you to say, would you, I'm starting to think about exiting. Maybe you'd like to buy this and incorporate it into yours. There's a lot of ways to start getting out of the business and building that succession plan. But it really starts with sound planning today in that succession plan, and building your board of advisors today, and then being able to grow that and then have you exit out and still have that business have value.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, Jackie, if you were to give us one piece of homework, something that we can take away from today and, get started. So we have to start somewhere. And sometimes when we get all this information, it can feel a little bit overwhelming or a little bit heavy, especially when it's around money. So where would you suggest that we start?
Well, I kind of envision it as if when we're at ground level, and I can only see maybe 50 to 100 feet in front of me. It's really hard for me to see my business, where it came from, where it is today, and where it is heading off into the sunset over here, growing and expanding. And I have found that when I actually take myself into a place where I rise above it, and I kind of equate that to like a drone. So we're down on the ground, but have you ever watched like a show or something like that, or even a sporting event, right? Where all of a sudden you're looking at the field, and then all of a sudden they show this sky level down on it and you can see everything. I feel like that's kind of sometimes where we need to start and dream and kind of picture what would our business look like, not just right now in the here and now. And I think there's value in looking at where we've come from to say, man, look what we did. Look how far I've come already. It's possible. And then to allow ourselves to look at the expanse and the horizon, and don't limit ourselves. Really look and see, where can this business spread out across the landscape? And then who do I need to kind of bring in or collaborate with to help that span out? And I really think taking that opportunity to step away, look at it from, a bird's eye view, a drone's eye view, if you will, and really start envisioning what that could look like. And don't limit yourself. Don't say, that's not possible. How do you know? You probably didn't think it was possible to get where you're at today either, did you? That's why I think there's value in looking at where we came from. And then dream big, because all the greatest inventions out there didn't limit. They didn't say that can't happen. They said, how am I going to make that happen? Who do I need to bring in to the team to make sure that this can happen. When you dream big and you bring in the right people that can share that vision with you and that excitement, the sky's the limit. You can go as far as you want with this. And I think that's where you need to start looking and saying, just dream it out. And then from there, bring in the right people and see where it takes you. And maybe you don't get to see the end result of the final dream because maybe it is so big, but that's okay too. You have to have a pathway and keep going, keep moving forward and let it continue growing and growing and growing. I look at it like my children. When they were babies, I could never have envisioned where my 28 and 23-year-old would be today. The things that they would be doing. And they have so much further to grow. And that's how I look at my business. It's a baby that I've been nurturing and growing. And I'm so excited to see where it's headed.
I think that's a perfect place for us to start. I think also it's a perfect note on which to end this conversation. You know, the name of our show, though, Jackie, is Grow Your Business Smarter, but live your optimal life. So my question for you is, what are you doing for fun these days?
Well, awesome. So some of you who know me well know that I'm a big kayaker. And that and I have a mission to finish paddling all 410 miles of the Connecticut River. So I've done just about half of it. So right now I'm getting ready to, I've been in training indoors. I'm getting ready to get back out and hit the water soon because I'll be doing another 100 miles in 5 days coming up probably at the end of June. So that's what I'm doing for fun.
That's pretty exciting. So I know that you and some of our other Ladies Power Lunch members were talking recently, and we realized that we like kayaking, but none of us are as good as you are. So we hope that during the summer, we can all get together and do some kayaking together, but you're going to have to be gentle with us. Okay.
That would be so much fun. I don't, yeah, absolutely. There's nothing like it being out on the water, and it's so serene and quiet most of the time. The river can get a little rough, but lakes are fine. It's just so beautiful to be out in nature. That's where I find my, that's where I get grounded, is out in nature.
Yes, definitely. Such a peaceful activity to be involved in. I love that. At the end of every show, I pull a card, and it's just a nice thought for the day, a nice opportunity for us to have some introspection over the week while we're not together. And the card I'm pulling today is from the Divine Abundance deck by Tosha Silver. And I pulled this card, and I'm just wondering, what is this evoking for you, Jackie? It says grounded. And in the context,
yeah, I just said that.
It's interesting. You kind of just did. It says many of the most evolved beings on earth are regular folks living with joy, dignity, and courage. How does that tie in with the message that you want to share with us today?
I mean, when you're grounded in yourself and you have confidence in your abilities, and you have confidence in yourself to be courageous and step out of that comfort zone, I think that brings so much empowerment, and knowing that you can be financially empowered through having education. It doesn't mean that you are, a billionaire at all. Financial empowerment to me is just feeling comfortable with what you have and knowing that those dollars are going to get you, where you want to, and that you're able to help the people that you want to. But having an overall sense of peace around that is so important. And it helps you be courageous in your business too. And when we're courageous, we inspire those that we serve to be courageous, because they look at us and they say, wow, if she can do that, I can do that too. And we inspire one another. I know I've been inspired by you and so many of the other people in this group. And that's what keeps me going and keeps me looking forward and saying, wow, if they can do that, if they could have stepped out on their leap of faith and they did this, I can do it too. Because you know what? I also have them around me coming in, we're linking arms. We're doing this together. I'm not alone. And that is where that grounding comes in too. It's grounding personally, but it's grounding with people around you that are ready to link arms with you and say, we've got you. We're doing this together. And that is so important.
Beautiful. I love that. I love the way you tied that all together. People are going to want to know how to connect with you, Jackie. How can they connect with you?
So you can send me an email at jbaldwin, BALDWIN, at BLFIN as in Nancy, ARC.com. You can also reach me by phone, 860-500-0051. You can check out, we have all kinds of calculators and information, flip books, all of that. If you want to get a jump start and you can't reach me, go to our website, which is www.blfinarc.com, that BLFINARC.com, and poke around our website. I think you'll find some really fascinating and helpful tools there as well. And of course, I'm on Facebook, but I'm not, that's where that's right. I need to get a marketing person.
I hear you. I hear you. You and me both, my dear. I do have a marketing person, and we just sat down today and kind of started going through the next couple of months of programming, because there is no way that I could do all of that all by myself. That's not in my wheelhouse. So thank you.
And one last word too is just also doing workshops of all different types, collaborating with everybody. I'm trying to do at least one a month. And so therefore I did a pre-retirement planning one. I've done a first-time home buyer. I've done I'm doing a college prep one coming up. And I'm doing we haven't come up with the title yet, with Pam Jazwicki. We're doing one of those, I think, in June as well. So I've got a lot of workshops out there. So just stay tuned and pop in whenever you can. It's all part of my wanting to give education and empowerment to people.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us and to share your knowledge and wisdom with us. And for those of you who you're connecting with Ladies Power Lunch for the first time, I say welcome, thank you. And come join us over in our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. It's at growsmarter.com/Facebook. We're going to ask you one question, and that's pretty much, are you open to this idea of us all supporting each other so that everybody wins? If you can answer yes to that question, then you are our kind of people. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see y'all on the next show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.